Mandalorian Episode 4. What the hell are you doing, Disney? Now, I originally was not interested in watching The Mandalorian, especially after the way that Lucasfilm treated the Skywalker saga. Like, everyone was really excited when news of this new TV show came out, and I was like, it's probably going to be some woke garbage. But I had family members saying, come on, let's watch it. It looks good. We hear it's good. Look how cute Baby Yoda is. Which I admit, Baby Yoda is really cute. Um, so I figured, all right, I give it a chance, and I'll watch it. So I watched the first episode, and I was pleasantly surprised. I was like, hey, this is not it doesn't look like they're shoving their, politically correct NPC SJW garbage down our throats. It just looks like a straight up story. So I liked the first episode. Then I watched the second episode, and I'm like, okay, I liked it. I watched the third episode, and I'm like, all right, this is pretty good. So, 3 out of 3 so far, that's good. Then came the fourth episode, and I was like, oh man, here we go. Looks like the feminist SJW NPC politically correct idiots got their grubby little hands on The Mandalorian now. I'm surprised it took this long, actually. Now, it's not a bad episode. I mean, it's a classic story that's been told. I think people talk about the Magnificent Seven, but it's a good story. I don't really get tired of hearing about it, so I don't want to say that the episode sucks, because the episode doesn't suck. It's still a good episode, but but they kind of ruined it by throwing in this feminist stupidity in it. Like, it starts off with, her name is Cara Dune. She's like a new character. She's female, some sort of like special forces paratrooper or something. She's a Rebel Alliance shock trooper. And I'm like, and she basically kind of kicks the Mandalorian's butt. And I'm just like, come on, man, really? I'm not saying that women can't kick butt, but all things being equal, both. The Mandalorian is a battle-hardened dude. So all things being equal, the female character should not have, beaten up the Mandalorian that way. Because, I mean, men are naturally stronger than women. I mean, that's just how it is. It's not sexist. Now, I know people are going to say, well, this is science fiction. It's fiction. It's not real. See, but the thing about Star Wars is it's not a superhero series. You know what I mean? Like in a superhero series, you got characters who have superhuman strength. So if this was that kind of a series, like a superhero series, then you can be like, like Wonder Woman or Supergirl or something. You can be like, well, they have superhuman strength, so of course they can take guys on. Like, I have no problem with that. But this one is sort of rooted in like human physics. You know what? Like, the women they're not superhuman, and neither are the men. So seeing this Cara Dune character, beat the Mandalorian, it's just not really believable. I will say this though, at least the actress doesn't look like a waif. At least she's not a waif. You know what I mean? She's not waifish. She's actually substantial. She's got meat on her bones. So even though I disagree with her character being able to beat up the Mandalorian, at least they got that right. She looks right. Now please, don't misunderstand. I'm not saying that there are not strong women. I'm not saying that there are women who can beat a guy. I know there are. I mean, I think it was like 10, 15 years ago or something, there was a story about some Australian grandma who kicked this guy's butt. This like thief or burglar who broke into her home or something. So I know what happens. But it's rare. And usually, women who can beat up dudes are women who are trained, who have training. So they got something over the guy. So, but in the case of this show, I know people are going to say, well, she's a shock trooper, she's a, trained soldier or whatever. But then again, so was the Mandalorian. I mean, it looks like in Mandalorian society, they're from like the time the kids they get trained in fighting or whatever. So all things being equal, there's no way that Cara Dune could have beat the Mandalorian. I mean, you're talking about a guy who faced down a charging rhino and got rocked, and yet he still got up. So, I'm sorry. Like, I'm not trying to be mean, I'm not trying to be sexist, but there's no way that she would have, beat him up like that. That's why I make the point of saying all things being equal, because I know things are not always equal. I mean, I know there might be people who are listening to this who are saying, well, I know that women can beat up guys and blah, blah, blah. Like, yes, I know, it's happened. I mean, it comes out in the news. That's why I made the point of saying all things being equal. Like, obviously, if the Mandalorian doesn't have any training, of course, Cara Dune is going to kick his butt. I mean, but in this particular case, you got the protagonist who is battle hardened, who has training, who he takes on a freaking like rhinoceros. Like, he's about to die, he still stands up with his knife or whatever. It doesn't really seem believable, but again, whatever. But again, that's why I say all things being equal. Like, it's just, this is the kind of woke nonsense that people like. Nobody is against women being able to be good fighters or be good shooters or something. I liked the previous episode where they had the female bounty hunter. That one was believable. I mean, the actress who played the bounty hunter. I forget her name. She's an Asian actress. She was in that old show ER back in the 90s, I think. And then she was also in a sitcom called The Single Guy. And that made some sense because the female bounty hunter seems to have a lot of experience. She's like one of the best. She's notorious. The Mandalorian knows who she is. Whereas the bounty hunter in training, he doesn't have a lot of experience. He wants to get into the guild. He's got some experience, but not a lot. So he's a match for the female bounty hunter. Like, she beats him because she has more experience than he does. It makes sense. And she lost because the Mandalorian showed up. So she lost not because she was a woman. She lost because it was 2 against 1, and she just, wasn't able to beat both of them at the same time. Especially 2 bounty hunters. So that episode didn't bother me. The episode with the female bounty hunter didn't bother me because it was at least so rooted in common sense. The previous episode makes sense. That it makes sense. The episode 4 doesn't quite make sense. I mean, I guess it's possible, but they're trying too hard. Again, this is not like this is not an episode with people with superhuman strength. Star Wars is a universe where humans just have normal strength. Like, aliens might have some super strength, but humans, there are no superhumans. I mean, they're just regular people. So that's why in a series like Star Wars, it needs to match just regular human physics to be believable. You know what I mean? I mean, even Jedis, people will say, well, what about Jedis? They're superhuman. It's like, Jedis have the Force, but they're not superhuman. Like Luke Skywalker cannot lift a boulder just with his physical strength. He needs to use the Force to do it. You see what I mean? I just happen to think that there are more creative ways to show that a woman is strong. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to just always have this like butt-kicking woman, like beating up guys twice the size. Like, that's really generic. That's just really contrived. There are more creative ways to show a woman is strong or a woman is capable, or a woman, maybe she uses her wits a little bit more. Maybe she, something. You know what I mean? So this whole, I am woman, hear me roar, etc. It just gets kind of old after a while. Just having some, 5 foot, a woman beating up some like 6 foot 2 inch, 250-pound dude. it's just, it's silly, really. It's just silly. Then her fist fighting with that big dude for money. I mean, I don't know. It looks like it was just a straight fist fight. So in a straight fist fight, I mean, come on. Like, the dude's gonna win because they're just naturally bigger and more muscular. So, but, but that actually isn't the worst of it. The worst of it is when they go to this village, like a primitive village, and they're trying to help the villagers fight off these marauders, these like raiders who steal their food. And they don't have any guns, no weapons. They're just like a little peaceful, primitive society. And then the Mandalorian asks the villagers who here has like military experience, or who here has experience shooting a gun. And nobody raises their hand except for one person, the female, the widow. She somehow has experience shooting a gun. And then they show the next scene where they're trying to train all the people to shoot. And of course, everyone's like missing the target and can't shoot for crap. But the woman, the widow, she gets all of the shots. Bullseye, every single shot she makes. And I'm just like, really? Really, Disney? And no, I'm not saying that women can't shoot guns or women can't be like heroes or whatever. I mean, just explain to me why she can shoot. Maybe her husband was a soldier and taught her how to shoot and defend herself before he died. Or maybe she comes from a Spartan type society, like a militaristic society where everybody, both men and women, learn how to shoot. But then she decided to give it all up to marry her husband who lives in a more primitive society. I mean, give me something. Explain to me how this woman, this lonely widow, can shoot. Don't just throw this female character and say, well, she's female, so she can do whatever. Don't give me that crap. Please explain. I got no problem with women being able to shoot, but at least explain it to me. See, this is what we mean when we say that feminism and social justice warriorism and political correctness ruins entertainment. This is exactly what we're talking about.